Hi there, welcome to Terraland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Scorpio energy. And like usual on this channel, we're going to do two rows. The top row is referred to as high vibe Scorpio energy. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy energy. We all have to make decisions in life. We've got our free will, and we have to debate within ourselves. And kind of, if our more hopeful, believing, loving, encouraging nature ones out, we'll probably move forward in life differently. But if the opposing counsel wins and our more shadowy worldly nature of fear and insecurity or pride or ego or immaturity or just not ready to step out of our comfort zone, we'll probably keep living our life the way we've been living our life. So some people could be trying to make a decision right now, and they could be struggling within themselves, because when we're going to move forward in life differently or make a decision that kind of changes our life, just how we view life, our habits, our hobbies, heal, grow, mature, something, our life's going to be different. And the way we think and feel and react to things is different than it used to be. And so some people could really be struggling within themselves about that. Other people have moved on. Some people chose, yep, I'm going to move forward in life having a little more hope and faith and belief and love in myself. And some people were like, I'm fine living my life the way it is. And they're going to keep doing their life the way they do it. So Scorpio energy is emotional water sign energy. Are we willing to explore life, the mysteries of life emotionally, and let our more emotionally intuitive, creative, inspired nature and love be the guiding factor in our life? Or do we keep letting maybe our fear and our insecurity or defensiveness to being hurt guide our life? And shadowy Scorpio can be people who, we are emotionally complex human beings, and some people just don't want to deal with it. The reason for the bottom rose reading is the Aquarius energy. Some of you could be dealing with an Aquarius, but we all tap into Aquarius energy, and it has to do with our dreams. Our idea of the dream life, and we're either have seen the truth that it's about love makes it all worthwhile and to love ourselves, or we could live more from our mind than our heart, because we prefer not to connect in with our emotions, really. Kind of use our emotions manipulatively to get what we want, but maybe not really do love and really emotionally invest in people. And some people, what they love is looking like a shining star in the world, or they're all about themselves. And we just need to see the truth about different people in our life, about what drives and motivates them. So, at the end of this, we're going to shuffle out some cards for the people who harness some high vibe energy, what might be coming up for them that they don't see coming. For some people who harness a more worldly, shadowy view of life, what might be coming up for them that they don't see coming. Because in our free will, we're either building our foundations and our life and our relationships kind of more on willing to put in work and effort to free ourselves from our more worldly, shadowy, egotistical, immature nature. And that takes work and effort. And we have to, make that free will choice that I want to grow and heal and mature myself. And some people don't. And they have no interest in maybe ever doing that, because they're maybe just more about indulging themselves and being more about themselves. And they think they'll be happy making their life about those things. So let's go look at the bottom row. We have the lilies, which is Capricorn energy, the whip, which is Scorpio energy, the sun, Leo energy, and the heart. So Capricorn is also in shadow energy, represented by the devil. We can make our life in our Scorpio nature of what we love. We can make it all about ego, image, money, materialism, self-indulgence, if that's what we love. And then we're operating more from our ego nature. And people can choose to not want to be illuminated to the truth. It's like, nope, I'm going to make my life about these things of the world. I don't want to do love. I get hurt doing love. I want to not deal with I know the Heart card is kind of reminding me of the Three of Swords card. Why would people make their life so much about those things of the world? Either being all about themselves, or let's go make our life about indulging in all these things, or making our life about all these things. Why not do love? Probably because they'd have to deal with, I don't know, seeing the truth that it should be about love, and some people think it should be all about them. You know, we can all get caught up in the illusion of the world. The most important thing is to make it about me. If I have people indulging me and it's all about me, I'll be happy. Really? Maybe I'll be intimidating and controlling. Shadowy Scorpio energy, also represented by the Death card, which anyone can harness. Don't be afraid of people who are a Scorpio sun sign. Everybody harnesses these zodiac sign traits in a high vibe way, a more balanced way, a more loving way, or a more shadowy way. Shadowy Scorpio, anybody, can be intimidating and controlling, stubborn, prideful, egotistical, unwilling to get out of their ego. They indulge themselves and they think other people should indulge them. Some of them can be narcissistic, you know. And some people, what drives and motivates them, and the most important thing, is their ego and their image and their status and how they think other people view them. You know, love is optional. And for some people, they might know that truth about themselves. They just don't want other people to know the truth. And if other people do become illuminated to the truth, and those people love and believe in themselves, and they're not willing to stay in jobs, friendships, or relationships because it looks victorious and successful, and those people have a different dream, my dream isn't all about you or all about these things of the world. I believe in love, tempering my ego and my fear and my insecurities and my codependencies. And those people detach from them because they have been illuminated to the truth. Well, some of those people can be awfully mad. Some of those people might try to intimidate and control you to keep you in the relationship, to keep indulging them, because it's good for their ego and their image. Some people are like, no, I'm not staying here. This might be your dream life. This isn't my dream life. But we initially, because, you know, under the snowflake card, we have the love, success and love card. You know, we come in contact with all these different people in the world to help us get more clear about what our truth is. What is important to me? What am I seduced by? And in our worldly nature, for the first 30, 40 years of our life, we can be pretty caught up in the things of the world. Because we get kind of indoctrinated into the world. You know, we grow up in the world, and everybody in our life tells us, if you go make your life about this, you'll be happy. If you do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, drink this, eat that, you know, hang out with these people, not those people, you'll be happy. And then, you know, so we're kind of seduced by the world at an early age. But then we could live our life like that. And you can have hope and faith and belief and love, but you kind of make, those things are really pretty important in your life initially. And then the clouds can talk about, in Gemini energy, which does have to do with our dualistic nature, what is my truth? It's kind of confusing. Doubt, hesitation, confusion, unclear, dark thoughts, negativity, hidden. You know, we come to this world having duality, where people have free will. They can do this or they can do that. And anything in between. It's for us to figure out what our truth is. And initially we'll all kind of, you can have hope and faith and belief and love, but we could think and not see things clearly, which is what the clouds talk about. not clearly, we live in a world that's kind of veiled. People can present themselves in the world any way they want. Look at me, I'm a stable, grounded, just, fair, loving family person. You should be in a relationship with me. And then you find out later, after you kind of get over being caught up in the illusion, you kind of see the truth of what drives and motivates people. You can take a job. Oh, you should work here. We're really encouraging and supportive. And then you take the job and you find out, yeah, that's not who you are at all. You're someone who cracks the whip, thinking I can be bossy or controlling or rude or condescending. And I bet you'll just stay here because you won't want to love and believe in yourself enough to go get a different job. The reason for the top rose reading is the main male. The masculine energies, not referring to men, but in our dualistic nature, we either align with our more worldly egoic nature, which can be represented by the masculine figures, which anyone can operate from their ego, so it could be considered more about ourself in our ego, or we connect in with our more emotionally intuitive nature, the hidden realm. So the masculine figures can represent how we present ourselves in the world. But for some people, it could represent they're operating more from ego. Sometimes we get in these mismatched relationships. One person really is who they say they are in the relationship. Another person is kind of trying to confuse someone about the truth. Oh yeah, I have hope and faith and belief and love. Oh yeah, I'm just like you. We should get in a relationship. But the other person's operating more from their ego and maybe emotionally defensive nature or egotistical nature, or it's good for their ego and their image, but it's not really love that drives and motivates them. Or it could be their version of love, but it's kind of their being defensive to being more authentic and loving in the relationship in their self-defensive Scorpio nature. I don't really let my more authentic loving nature come out to play in the world because I could get hurt. So I have my ego kind of runs my life to keep me feeling safe and secure. We can be in a relationship, but I'm not doing this. My own Scorpio nature stops me and blocks me from being more authentic and aligned with my loving nature. But we can be in a workplace, friendship, relationship, makes me look victorious and successful. Looks like I got it going on. I got someone in a relationship with me who might love me. And they're willing to stay in a relationship with me. And I'll stay in the relationship until they see the truth that I kind of use my mind and my charm and my looks and my emotions and my sexuality and my things of the world to try to seduce people. I'm actually defensive to change. Because in high vibe energy, Scorpio death card means I go through a phase of life, I learn lessons in life, I see what things keep me in kind of negative, shadowy energy, manipulate me. And I want to be free. Up here at the end, we have the cross card. I want to be free to live my own authentic life. And I don't want to let my ego manipulate me, my fear, my insecurities, my defensiveness. I want to stand up for what I believe in, to be independent of my more shadow nature, so my more loving, hopeful, believing nature is running my life. And I'm my own individual. And I don't like other people in the world trying to manipulate and control me or intimidate me. But that is all a process of becoming. And some of you could have gotten in some friendships and relationships with people, and as time went by, you could have had hope and faith and belief and love, hoping everybody was going to, love themselves enough in the sweetheart card to overcome their own shadow nature to have hope and faith and belief in their dreams and in love, in themselves and in the people they're in relationship with, to be more independent. High vibe energy is about learning to love yourself, value yourself, treat yourself in a loving way, to temper your own fears and insecurities, like being a good mother, father, coach voice to yourself. Your loving nature sits in the driver's seat. Your shadow nature sits in the back seat, kicking and screaming and crying. Are we going to get those things that we want? I want to be in a relationship. That's the key to us feeling better. Or I want to go indulge in those things of the world to make me feel better. Let's not change. Let's keep doing things the way we've been doing it. But High Vibe Scorpio is about change. I lived my life at a phase of life. I learned the lessons I meant to learn from that phase of life. If I keep repeating a pattern over and over and over, and I'm not like continuing to go with the flow of the universe where I grow and heal and mature myself, periodically work through my self-limiting beliefs and these things that manipulate me, I'm kind of resisting like growing to my full potential. And it could be because I'm kind of caught up in my ego, and there's probably some things I could love about the way I'm living my life, but it's kind of, the bigger picture is we're not the boss. There are rules to this game of life. Just like there's gravity. When our intuition is telling us kind of that if we keep resisting, when our intuition is kind of telling us it's time to let go of some old ways of being, it's just like trying to stay acting like a 15-year-old all your life, or a 21-year-old all your life, or a 30-year-old all your life. Life is about continuing to learn lessons in life. And some people could be like, oh no, I love this phase of life. I want to stay in this phase of life forever. We could equate it almost to being, which I said in another video recently, about being like an apple tree. An apple tree doesn't have free will. It is going to try to do everything it can, bend to find the light, come up between sidewalks, go around the bend of a house, everything to grow to its full potential. It has no free will. The seed is planted. You will grow to your full potential. You will give everything you can. Human beings have free will. We have the seeds of the knowledge of good and evil. Like all the potential aspects of ourselves, of the type of human being we could be in the world, is in there. And those energies kind of want to live our life, even though our shadow nature doesn't care if our life ends up in the gutter. It'll lick its fingers and say, damn, that was great. Our shadow nature doesn't want us to change. Our immature nature, our lustful, greedy nature doesn't want us to change. But it's going... Our shadow nature is kind of represented by the devil. Non-life-giving energy. Wanting to indulge our more immature nature. And it gets a hold on us, and it doesn't work out well. And our intuition is trying to tell us if we live a phase of life like that it's just time to move on, that we should have learned the lesson, it's time to figure out kind of what needs to go, what needs to stay, what are the good building blocks. If we keep ignoring it, because we have our kind of like divine inheritance and full potential, and if we keep resisting going with the flow, it'll get more and more confusing, and kind of eventually it kind of takes over our life, and then our ego or our fear or our insecurity. Some people, what can be a problem that we have to learn lessons in is in all four suits of the deck. Like in tarot, we have the heart, the mind, the 3D world, our creative, passionate nature. Some people are learning a hard lesson either about being kind of self-absorbed and narcissistic and trying to manipulate and control people, because that probably is what makes them feel safe and secure. But if they keep doing that, there's going to be other people who aren't going to want to hang out with them, right? Who likes to hang around people that are operating from shadowy or immature energy, right? But other people could be learning lessons, making the things of the world more important, because that's kind of what they love. Other people are learning lessons, letting their heart run their life, and we all learn those lessons, and we kind of like, oh my gosh, but I love them. And our life kind of goes off the deep end because we're kind of disrespecting other aspects of our life as equally. And high vibe energy is learning that all these aspects of ourselves are equally to be respected, but we could think, no, in my worldly nature, that's the most important thing. Other people, no, my emotional nature, that's the most important thing. No, my fiery, impulsive, or lustful nature is the most important thing. So what do we have here? We have fire, water, and the earth sign energy. We're missing, well, right here is air sign energy. So I guess all four elements are there, but we'll all go learn these lessons in the world until we're illuminated to the truth. That how some of the things that we can love get a stranglehold on us. And if we learn these lessons in life to be more balanced within ourselves, like in the scales of justice and in the chariot card, you know, kind of driving between the bumper guards of life and like not going into the ditch one way or the other, enabling poor behavior in ourselves or enabling poor behavior in others. We can love people, but, you know, love is supposed to be just and fair and where you treat other people the way you like to be treated. And some people kind of have some illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. You know, I think it's just and fair for me to be more about myself or for me to be more materialistic. How about you be more loving? Maybe I can be bossy and controlling. Maybe I can be emotionally shallow and superficial. You're supposed to love me anyway. Well, I don't know where you learned that, but the way I learned was that we're supposed to learn these lessons in life to grow up and mature ourselves and detach from our more worldly nature to be reborn, you know, and we do that throughout our life, just like the nesting dolls. Age 15, when we're ready to move forward to be more like an 18-year-old, we face our fears and insecurities, we detach from some more immature ways of being, we kind of give birth to a new us. And when we make that decision, I am done acting like a 15-year-old, we don't really have an interest in going back to acting like a 15-year-old. And then we move forward, kind of reborn, our new self, our new way of looking at life. And we put, even though we could be a little scared, because the clouds can talk about that it's kind of unknown territory. I can't see everything like I knew how to do everything back at this phase of life. This is kind of scary territory and it's emotionally confusing because I don't know everything. Well, we didn't know everything when we turned 15. We didn't know everything when we turned 18. We didn't know everything at 21, 25, 35, 45. But the more you do this and stand up for yourself, it takes practice, you know, and we offer our self-love to comfort our fears and insecurities that I do believe. Let's see what the cross card says. Burden, trials, regret, sorrow, guilt, suffering, obstacles, beliefs, religion. But it's having that, like harnessing, we had a more worldly dream in Aquarius energy. And through that process, it's like, you know what? I don't think this is the end-all, be-all. I don't want to act like a 21-year-old all my life. I don't want my fears and my insecurities to manipulate me. I am going to harness high-vibe Aquarius energy, which is stepping outside of societal norms to bring needed change to the world. And that I have hope and faith and belief that there's more to life than this phase of life or being about me or whatever I make my life about. That I have hope and faith and belief in myself. And I want to stand up for what I believe in. And high vibe energy is truth and love, justice, fairness. I want to grow to my full potential. I don't want these things to manipulate me. I don't want other people to be able to manipulate me because of these issues within myself. And I realize it starts within me. I've got to stand up to my own shadow nature, or my shadow nature is going to be driving my life. And there's going to be a whole bunch of people that would love to maybe be in a relationship with me, or friendships, or have me work for them, that are in their own shadowy energy. And I don't want to be in shadowy relationships anymore. I want to be in high vibe relationships based on truth and love and justice and fairness. And if I want that, I need to figure out what lessons did I learn from those life experiences where I needed to heal and grow and mature myself so I don't go repeat that old pattern. What kind of people did I get in relationships with and it didn't work? The truth sets us free. If I previously was attracted to people who are, I don't know, don't like me, kind of disrespectful, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make you love me. Well, next time I see people, why? Where does that come from? I'm not going to do that anymore. If I see someone who's bossy and controlling, oh my gosh, I got to make them not be bossy and controlling with me. I'm going to kiss their butt to try to get them to like me. It's like, oh my God. Why not work with the people in the world who are more self-disciplined and kind and considerate and empathetic and self-disciplined? We got to figure out why. Why do I chase after immature people when I don't like... It can be fun, but then they keep being immature. It's like expecting other people to change. Or that because you're a loving person or blah, 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 you can get someone else to change the type of person they are. Love and encouragement are the answer for people to heal, but they have to make that free will choice within themselves. And if that's not the type of person they are now, well, maybe if you're just a friend who sees them out and about, high vibe energies, being a good leader, being a boss in the world without thinking, being arrogant and full of yourself and thinking you are the boss. I just treat other people the way I like to be treated. I offer people love and encouragement and respect. If they choose to detach from some of their more immature ways of being, that in Gemini energy is their free will choice. But if they're still caught up in illusions of things that manipulate them, that they don't want to see the truth of, oh yeah, no, you stay over there in the friend category. And I'm not going to move forward with people like that anymore in a more involved relationship. Because everybody has free will, and if they wanted to be a more just and fair and loving and stable and grounded, authentic person, they would be. And if they're not, yeah, I'm done trying to illuminate people to the truth. I will live my life. They will see how I live my life. If they want to be in a relationship with me, then I guess they'll have to do this work within themselves. But no more under an illusion that I can be in the sweetheart, whether you're male or female, emotionally. You are someone motivated and inspired by love. That's what drives and motivates the actions you take. I'm not going to get someone in my life that I invest more time, energy than I have to if they're kind of aligned with not that. Because what drives and motivates us is different, and a house divided can't stand. And I've already learned that lesson. And I'm going, even though I had a dream, I could have wanted to come into reality with some of those people, whether they're a longtime friend, and I thought we were going to be longtime friends forever, but something changed along the way. There's no guarantees in life. That's the thing of Scorpio. Everybody has their issues to work through. We can be in friendships and relationships with people for a long time. At what point does something come up that is an obstacle for them? that they would need to be willing to illuminate the truth of and offer love to, but that is a real stumbling block for them. And they might not want to see it. They might not want to deal with it. They could have things within them that they kind of have buried underneath the surface that they don't want to see the truth of. They could have people in their life that kind of manipulate and block them, and they don't want to see the truth of it. You know, we have all these different people again, and, you know, some people aren't ready to stand up for themselves. And we're all ready to stand up for ourselves when we're ready to stand up for ourselves and shed light on things that we maybe would have preferred to keep buried and hidden in the dark. High vibe energy is dealing with the truth of the things that we maybe didn't want to look at or deal with, which can be our past pain and heartbreak, our fear or insecurity, our self-limiting beliefs, our egoic, immature, self-indulgent nature, wanting things our way, wanting reward without effort. You know, we got to see the truth of it. If we want to be in more emotionally mature, loving relationships, we have to do that work within ourselves and shed light on those things we'd maybe rather not look at. And offering light to them isn't like to go in with a hammer and beat ourselves up and beat everyone else up in our life. It's just to offer love and compassion to it. We all have these lessons to learn. And this game of life ain't easy. You know? And we have all these conflicting feelings and thoughts, and we need to work through it. And there's some people, they just don't want to deal with it, and they don't want to work through it, and it goes back in the box in the corner of their mind, and they think it'll all be okay. They've decided they're going to keep moving forward in their ego. They don't have to look at those things. That everything will work out okay. But those things still impact the decisions they make in their life and how they get like triggered in life and how they respond in life. And if they haven't been enlightened to the truth that love is the answer, where when these things come up, we stay in an energy of love, balance, acting with character and integrity instead of getting into the dirt with some other people. That's not how I want to live my life. And if I'm dealing with someone who's used to playing in the dirt, they're going to beat me anyway. So that's not how I play and live my life. So why even do it? I just don't choose to live my life that way. Life is meant to be enjoyed. The things of the world are meant to be enjoyed from a place of love, so those things don't get such a stranglehold on you. Go enjoy your life. Go indulge in what you want to go indulge in, so long as you're doing it out of love and respect for yourself and not looking to those things to be the answer to your problems, because they're not the answer to your problems, and other people aren't the answer to your problems. We all would like to be in relationships. We'd all like community. If there aren't people in our life that we have, or people in our life who are being like that, you know, we can go enjoy our life and enjoy the people in the world who are nice and friendly. And we go with the flow and believe that life-giving energy, represented by God, will work to help us manifest those things into reality. We can either work just with the things of the world and think all we have to work with is the things of the world, but life force energy, creative, inspired, and synchronicity and all of that is leaving us breadcrumbs if we're willing to follow it and listen to our intuition instead of our fear and our insecurity. And then as some people are moving forward like that, there's going to be other people who could want to be the next person to indulge in a friendship or relationship with you because you're a loving, nurturing, supportive person, but they just kind of want to be indulged. And you got to listen with these lessons you've learned, you know, and it might take time to figure it out. But, you know, you get to know people. Do they have your best interest at heart? Sometimes we've got to work with people who we know aren't on the same page as us, or we know they're immature, or we know they're prideful, we know they're bossy and controlling. Well, unless we're going to switch jobs, we got to work with them. So, we all have to do the best we can to work with people when we have to work with people. And if we really don't have to work with them and involve ourselves with them that much, we try not to. But we still treat people with maybe respect in the way we'd like to be treated, to try to have you're staying in the energy of peace and balance. But there could be other people, again, who anybody can try to present themselves as harnessing high vibe Scorpio energy, just like all the other zodiac sign traits and characteristics. I'm not selfish, I'm not bossy, I'm not egotistical, I'm not controlling, I'm not immature. And as you kind of get to know them, because it just could make them look like they've changed, they've grown, they've matured when they really haven't. So you just listen to your intuition, treat people with love and respect, be a good example in the world. Some shadowy people, you could have wanted a dream to, some people in our life, like I say, they can be needless, high vibe people, motivated and inspired by love. They just might have some work to do about things that block them from standing up for themselves and living their more authentic life and learning to love yourself, learning to be more authentically yourself. Again, tarot kind of refers to it as our first 30, 40, 50 years could be us being in our south node. And if we listen to our intuition and kind of get out of being so consumed with these things of the world or in our ego or being indulged or indulging our more immature nature or whatever, then we align with our north node and we really kind of step in more into our life purpose. And other people right now that we could view as loving are trying to work through their own things and maybe not letting some people in their life manipulate them or control them. But until they do that, we keep wishing them peace and we keep moving forward with the people in our life who have kind of freed themselves and are taking action with us in the world, speaking their truth, offering us love. And the people who aren't, I don't know if you're in your own high vibe relationship or not, but you're not taking action towards me in my life, so I assume it's one or the other. Either way, I've got to deal with the truth of it. I have a dream I want to bring into reality, and I'm going to listen to my intuition. If people aren't taking action towards me in my life, I'm not going to take action out of pride or ego or whatever. I'm going to keep living my life. If it would be a romantic interest, if there's no one in my life for me to have that type of relationship with that seems to be on the same page as me, I have other things to go invest my time, energy, and effort into. My career, my friends, my family, enjoying my life, educating myself. I want to be free that when someone does show up, I want to be free to go be able to get in a relationship with that person. Some people, though, they might get a little bit more in their ego or lust or greed or codependency, and maybe to make them feel more stable within themselves. And they might go get in relationships with people, and then they could be mad when someone shows up in their life that they'd really like to be in a relationship with, because we are emotionally complex human beings, and hopefully if we're going to get in a relationship with someone, we are at least being invested in it somewhat, and we have love for them and we care for them. And but some of those people, it was more out of maybe lust or greed or pride or ego or money or materialism or codependency. And then people can have a hard time getting out of it because And some of those people are waiting for the people they're in a relationship with to change, but those people aren't changing, but they invested in it, they move forward in it. And then kind of our pride and ego again is in it, and we're emotionally invested in it. So those are all difficult situations. Let's see what's coming up for some people who harness some high vibe Scorpio energy. Offering them self-love, not letting other negative people in the world, other people in your life who've already shown you they're not motivated and inspired by truth and love and being just and fair and being more authentic or speaking the truth and walking the talk. You're offering love to the situation to free yourself from it. I can no longer stay in expectation that other people are going to change because they keep showing me every day that's not their free will choice. If it was what drove and motivated them, they would. And that's maybe more of a romantic interest. If we have friends or family members kind of caught up and entangled in some things that got a stranglehold on them, we still need to keep moving forward in our life. God's always there to work with people, to encourage them. They always have that free will choice. Love stands at the door and knocks, but people got to open up the door and let it in. And some people won't do that. And until they learn to open that door within themselves, to believe they do deserve better, it's part of the mystery of life, which is what Scorpio is about. What's going on with the high vibe people that they might not see coming up? That are freeing themselves from things that have manipulated them and seeing through the emotional confusion and illusions they had of people. We have a card not showing itself, and the reason is because of the High Priestess. So, the High Priestess can be listening. It's like Cancer, Pisces energy. Sitting in your intuition, just kind of watching and observing what people do and choices they choose to make in their free will. Because that tells us a lot about people, what they choose to say, what they choose not to say, what action they are taking, what action they're not taking. To see through the emotional confusion. People are either being truthful, just, fair, treating other people the way they like to be treated, or they're not. We don't have to understand why they do that. I mean, maybe at a core foundational level, it could all be fear or pain or heartbreak, but, some people have grown cold to that aspect within themselves, and some of them just are narcissists, and are kind of void. But anyway, doing this work within yourself will get you to a place of being more aligned. The High Priestess is like being aligned with more your higher self. I have a dream, and if in 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, I want my life to look like this, I have to put an end to my more immature ways of being. I need to start taking steps to bring that dream into reality, or that dream isn't going to come into reality. And I need to do that with other people. That the people I do invest my time, energy, and effort into have to be on that same page. And so the way I interpret this card is that what some people don't know about you, because they've known you some of these people throughout your life. Some people have known you for a while. Some people knew you last year, 6 months ago. Just depends on when you kind of made some decisions in your life to kind of stand up for yourself. And we could look at our high vibe masculine energy as protecting our more loving, more vulnerable, authentic nature, but not in a more self-defensive nature. I have love and respect for myself. I will go out in the world, treat people with love and respect, but I'm going to listen to my intuition about anyone I more emotionally invest in. I am willing to emotionally invest in people, and I'll treat people with love and respect and encouragement, but no one gets into my more deep emotional nature unless my intuition says that they have done this work within themselves. But other people just create an illusion in the world. And so some people think you're just creating an illusion. You're doing just what they're doing. You're trying to manipulate and control people and look more stable and grounded and whatever than you really are. But what they don't know about you is you're not, if you, in your own degree, kind of harness this energy in a shadowy way, what they don't realize about you is that's not the truth of who you are anymore. And when you rejected that within yourself, you also cut other people out of your life that were harnessing that energy in a shadowy way. And now you're harnessing it in a high vibe way. The Knight of Cups in reverse. Previously, you could have not... This is Pisces energy, which is about listening to your intuition. We've all got lessons to learn about listening to our intuition. And before, our intuition could have told us, I don't think you should do that. It's not a good idea. But we went and did it anyway. You previously maybe weren't listening to your intuition. And you maybe weren't invested in offering yourself that cup of love to stand up and believe in yourself. Some people think that's still the truth of who you are. You're just wearing a good false mask. But what they don't know about you is you're no longer... The clouds is kind of like Pisces energy. Even though the card says Gemini, in your free will, you kind of align with your more high vibe Pisces or your more shadowy Pisces. And shadowy Pisces can be getting caught up in the illusion of love and illusion of the world. And you've seen through the illusion. You've seen the truth. The truth has set you free. And there's some people that could think they could actually be doing hurtful, unkind things and thinking, oh, when I'm done doing this, I'll go back and get in a relationship with them. I think they're still waiting. Or as long as I keep thinking they're not going anywhere, I'll indulge in these things. What some of those people don't realize, you don't want to offer them a cup of love anymore. But they're just not seeing it. When we're kind of in our pride and our ego, it kind of clouds our judgment. And some of these people still have the illusion because you're this loving person and they know you love them. They think that if ever they decide to quit doing what they're doing, they could come back and pop up in your life. And they don't realize, and if any of them do, that's when they're going to find out the truth that I've already seen through the illusion of who you are. I no longer view you as a person that I would want to be in a relationship with for some of the people that were very hurtful and unkind and unjust and unfair. And maybe even if some of them saw the light, you know, Scorpio energy can people who go like scorched earth on you, try to tear down your whole foundation, lie about you, slander you, really hurtful is what some people can do. And for some of those people, it'd be like, you know, I'm glad you freed yourself from whatever manipulated you. And I wish you peace, but I'm not going back in to that. You know, there's some people, they did things so poorly, I would never be able to trust them again. And then there's other people in your life that, you know, again, we can extend more grace to people like our adult children or family members or friends because they didn't hurt us maybe at such a core foundational level. And other people, you know, no longer caught up in the illusion of love. People have to be authentic. When we go out and present ourselves in the world, it has to be a true reflection of who we are. And again, it could have been just even getting more balanced. We all have our shadow nature. Have we learned to offer love to our more immature, shadowy nature so it doesn't get in the driver's seat of our life? And we want to be in relationships with other people who acknowledge they have a shadow nature, and they did have a shadow nature, and they were immature, and they were bossy, and they were controlling, and they were manipulative, or whatever. Are they willing to illuminate the truth of the lessons they learned about that to be more balanced. We can't get rid of our shadow nature. It is always there to tempt us throughout our life. Have people learned to take control of being responsible in their life? To let love and intuition guide them instead of these illusions they have, and thinking other people will be in illusions and that they can indulge their more shadowy nature and it'll all be okay. No, it will not be okay. And you cut the people out of your life who still want to live in fantasy land and illusion about what it means to be in a relationship. What's coming up for people who harness a more shadowy, worldly Scorpio nature? The Nine of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, and the Two of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Ten of Pentacles. Well, they could be people who they like to maybe get in relationships with people. This can represent being single. This can be getting in relationships with people. But then they kind of want to stay independent of that foundation. I want to juggle. I don't really want to invest. I don't want to pick a path. I haven't decided if I really want to do love or I really want to do more about myself or the world, and I can't decide. I want to be someone who doesn't make a choice. And because they're unwilling to pick a path, they could get in relationships with people who are high vibe, who know their worth and value, listen to their intuition, and are more balanced within themselves. And those people want to be in relationships with people who have chosen that choice. In their free will, I have chosen to align with my more hopeful, believing, loving nature. I've seen how my shadow nature kind of drives my life off into the ditch and manipulates and controls me, and it doesn't go the way I wanted. But some people are like, well, I like being in relationships with people who are like that, but then I kind of get caught up in kind of maybe wanting to be more immature, more about myself, more about these things of the world or ego and image and money. And so then I go get in a relationship with those people, but then I could feel kind of stuck because those people are kind of about that. And maybe neither one of us is very loving. It might look great by worldly standards, but then I miss the loving people, and then I want to go back and forth and be with the loving people. So I think for the people who can't pick a path or don't want to pick a path, they're going to have high vibe people and more shadowy people who leave their life because they go back and forth. And that can be kind of like being two-faced. I like to present myself in the world as being this type of person, one way or the other, but I still am conflicted about the other way, and they can't decide. So some of these people, which in shadowy energy, a lot of people can really build their ego and image and think it says something about them or their worth and value if they're in a relationship or not. And that can be very important to them because from ego, look, I've got someone to be in a relationship with me. It really doesn't matter if it's love or what drives and motivates it, just for them to be in a relationship. But I think some of these people that can't make a decision, they really do not want to be single, a lot of them. High vibe people would like to be in a relationship too, but if there's nobody for me to get tangled up in, I'm not going to get tangled up in them. I can enjoy my life and focus my time and attention in a lot of other aspects of the dream and being a good leader in the world. And some of these other people will probably really not like it because they might end up single, which they do not like. And because some of these people like to juggle people, might like people to, I don't know, if they don't indulge them the way they like to be indulged, they could think, well, how dare you not indulge me? Look at me. I'm like a shining star. I'm victorious or successful in the world. I'll go find someone else to go get in a relationship with. And then eventually those people don't want to be in a relationship with them. And then they're sitting here like thinking people view them as holding the key to other people's happiness. It's like the devil. I have all these things in the world. You should want to be in a relationship with me. Why isn't anybody coming to get in a relationship with me? Do you not see all these things that I have? And other people were like, you know, I waited to see if you would ever grow up and mature yourself or get out of your ego, but you didn't. And so in my fire sign energy, I realized my dreams can come into reality with you anyway. So you're someone I used to know, and I decided to invest in me and loving me, seeing through the illusion, seeing what was keeping me waiting for you to grow up and mature yourself. And that's when I had sudden abundance in my life, because I was no longer looking to you to be the answer to my problems. And I learned that I was the answer to my problems. And when I tapped into that energy, I was in alignment with life-giving energy of the universe. And then I was inspired to go on this adventure of learning lessons and go give birth to something new. And that is what I have done. And then when you go do that, then yeah, some of those people will feel stuck and mad because in their ego they weren't seeing the truth that you were a just and fair and loving person that they should have treated that way. But in their ego, because they have these lessons learned, they didn't. And they might end up just wanting to try to juggle other people, hoping one day you'll stop loving and believing in yourself. It's like, I'm not going to stop loving and believing in myself. And if you don't ever put an end to your ego, then I'm moving on without you. And you can go indulge yourself in anybody you want. And eventually, you know, you just kind of realize over time, as time goes by, that we're not on the same page, and I was caught up in illusion, and I wasn't seeing the truth, and I no longer am interested. And then, you know, you're investing in people in your life who really are on the same page as you. And they're still juggling and can't decide and trying to get people to appreciate them and love them and value them. It's just that they don't inspire people with love because they're not in shadowy energy. That's not what drives and motivates them. It's trying to manipulate and control people. So there you go, Scorpio. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.